You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 95. Woo, five more episodes
Crazy.
until, Shield, exactly. 5 more until it's 100. We've got plans in place, somewhat of a plan, maybe like 12% to 13%. Either way. Anywho, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callie, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., and all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Vold, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
Just riding the wave of emotion the last couple of days. It's been a up and down roller coaster left to right, but as you can proudly tell, rocking a Hall of Famer right now with the final season patch as well. David Ortiz, a Hall of Famer. I am just riding high right now and working for a great show. Will Glancy's already got me tuned up here for one of our ARA stories, so we are going to be locked in for tonight.
The fact that you just said Will Glancy's already got me a little peeved, I'm not going to lie. I actually talked to him today, and just a little tidbit. He's in the line of thinking that Kellen Mond is going to be better than Josh Allen.
Interesting.
Absurd statement 2022. Oh, he's coming.
There we go.
For it, man.
Line it up.
Line it up. Yep. He's lining up for the kick, and he's going to go wide left. But anywho, Voldy, we have a guest. We interviewed with the guest.
We did.
Some of these people know Mr. Austin Handley. You know, he said some stuff about Kirk Cousins. He said that Kirk Cousins was the 4th best quarterback in the NFC North. He needed to explain himself. He He did, somewhat. I mean, in some fashion. I think actually, we'll have the zoners take a look and make a judgment on their thoughts as well. But it was fun. It was fun talking with him. We talked with him about that. We talked with him about his Chiefs. His Chiefs doing pretty well the other night. I mean, hearts racing and everything like that. And then we just kind of go back and talk about, the documentary that we put together, myself, the Kerf Doctor, as well. And also we have an in-studio audience. Kerf Doctor's here. And the stupid duck thing, or former intern. Yeah. I don't know how he got in here, but he got in here. I'm not sure how, but we let him back in here. I think he wants more stickers. He can't have any more.
Probably. He has to pay double.
Kerf Doctor says Ryan Longwell needs to come out of retirement and kick for the Vikes. Well, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't either. Let's be honest. Ryan Longwell reached out to the Vikings, asked to say, hey, we can fix Daniel Carlson, but they didn't listen.
They didn't listen, and they're still getting bit in the ass on that one.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So we'll get more on the Vikings. Big news today out of Egan as well for Tater Tot Hot Take, and then ARA, one of them involving that anti-Vike guy. You know who he is. SeanPayton. Anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. But our chat with Austin Handley, 2021 Most Absurd Statement winner, Austin Handley. He didn't like the photo that I put together for him, but you know what?
Deal with it.
I like it, Shield. I love it. So, anyway.
Don't put that stuff on social media unless you want somebody to use it. I'm just saying.
That's true.
He did it to himself.
You make a good point, Voldy. You really do. All right. So, if you're with a few steroids, anything is possible. That's true. So, anyway, let's get it going with the interview with Austin. It was fun, and you guys make your thoughts known about the whole Kirk Cousins deal. So, let's get it going. All right, we're back on MinneZona Sports Live. You know, I thought this by the end of this year, I knew this was going to happen. I feel like I knew this was going to happen. But first, before we get into it, we have to welcome our guest, Austin Handley. Claps all around for Austin for coming on the show.
Woo, woo, woo.
Austin.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. You know, like there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk ever since your Zony Award win. I don't know if you want to consider it a win or anything like that, but
Are you sure it wasn't sooner?
yeah, it might have been. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
We'll go with that. But anywho, you won most absurd statement of 2021. The statement that was made, and this let's backtrack here, okay? I had for MinneZona, we had a post. I was talking about how RG3 was taking shots at Kirk Cousins. He shouldn't have, because RG3 is the last one to talk about taking shots at people. But all of a sudden, I see this comment in our video, and it says from Austin Handley, "You now have the 4th best quarterback in your division." In your division,
Congrats.
better than Justin. Apparently, Kirk Cousins is worse than Justin Fields, Jared Goff. Okay, AaronRodgers. But let me add one more thing here, because there was another comment that you made in there that says, "I might even say Jordan Love over him if Aaron leaves." If Aaron leaves, explain yourself. I want you to explain yourself, sir. Explain yourself. How do you think that this would, how do you, this is the logic in this makes no sense. Explain this to me, please.
Man, you just want to get right to it.
Yeah, let's go.
Please.
No, really, to start it off, man. I mean, Vikings fans, I live in South Dakota, so obviously Vikings fans are insufferable around here. I mean,
Really? Oh.
every year you guys think you should be in the Super Bowl, and you expect people to be saying the Vikings are going to be the best in the NFC and your division and whatnot. Hear that a lot. And it very false confidence, I guess, is the way I see it. In my opinion, I'll be honest, Case Keenum probably took you further than Kirk Cousins ever will. And that's the sad truth. You could be spending half the money and you might make it further, or your record would be exactly the same, one or the other, but you wouldn't be any worse off. So I figure, why not just keep Case Keenum? But that's where I stand on that. But of course, that leads to most of my reasoning behind really saying Kirk is the 4th best in the division. I'll be honest. As of today, if I had to take quarterbacks out of that division, it would be, I'd probably take him 3rd or 4th still. I'll be quite honest. Obviously, AaronRodgers, we'll just throw him out the way, number 1.
Okay.
But I'll be honest, I would take Justin Fields first.
Over Rodgers?
Oh, yeah. No.
Wow.
No, over Kirk Cousins.
Over Kirk Cousins. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I think going forward,
I'm gonna let
it's
you
gonna be a lot
finish.
better.
Go ahead.
Yep. I think it's going to be a lot better for him. I'd probably take Kirk 3rd. And then I'll give you Jared Goff. That was kind of a tongue-in-cheek moment, but for sure. So.
Well, I'll give you some credit for putting him above Jared Goff, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kirk Cousins was 10 times better than Jared Goff this year.
Yep.
Now, granted, I'll give you this. I will give you this. The Lions did beat the Vikings.
That was great. I loved it.
But you can't blame Kirk for that now. You can't blame Kirk for that, because the defense let Jared Goff march down the field and score that touchdown. Do you think Kirk Cousins can go in there and play some D-back? Do you think he can go in there and rush the passer? I don't think so. That's just not possible. Yep. But he is definitely better than Jared Goff, I would say, at this point right now. But Justin Fields, did you see how he played this year, my friend? 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The guy was a mess. Yes, I understand you had Matt Nagy as your coach, but that is not good for a rookie to start off. 7 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. I wouldn't take I'm sorry. I wouldn't take Justin Fields. I said it last week on the show. I said Bustin Fields. Bustin Fields. It's not looking good for Bustin Fields right now, Austin. How can you put Justin Fields above Kirk and above Jared Goff for that matter?
You and I view football very, very different, my friend. You see, I take Justin Fields for pure potential there.
Okay.
Because for me, Fields, I think, has a lot of upside and a lot of things that other coaches and other players would gravitate towards going forward for sure.
Okay.
Like I said, you and I view it very, very differently, I think. Because you see, I've been a Chiefs fan my whole life.
Sure.
And I very often compare your buddy Kirk Cousins to one of my favorite, and you and I have had this conversation before. Kirk Cousins is Alex Smith, my friend. Alex Smith, the year Patrick Mahomes took over, was on an MVP year, arguably that year. And he did great. He took us to the playoffs a couple times. We had great records all of those years. But he's never going to take us over the top. I'm done. I've been a Chiefs fan my whole life. We have sucked pretty much my whole life. I think back to the 03 Kansas City Chiefs with Human Joystick, Priest Holmes.
Yeah.
Yep. Tony Gonzalez and Trent Green.
Yeah.
Quarterback, not great. Good quarterback. But it's just not going to get it done. And we've had some bad years. Then you get Alex Smith, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. But unless you go swinging for the fence and go try and win it, you're not gonna. And, I'm glad we're swinging for the fence now, and it took guts doing that. So I see kind of Kirk the same way, where I'm like, you're never going to get over the hurdle with Kirk. So what's the point?
Well, I'll agree with you on that front because the reason why is because right now, the current situation that Kirk got brought in, let's rewind this a second. He was in Washington. Okay. He's in Washington. Let's all agree here that Washington is a disgrace of a franchise right now with Dan Snyder. Okay. So we can agree on that. Now, the weapons that Kirk had in Washington weren't great. I mean, Josh Doxson, was it Deshaun Jackson maybe for a year or something like that? Just, he never had a running game. And basically, I think he was carrying too much of the load, right?
Yeah.
So now people can look at that and say, okay, well, now he's going to Minnesota. Now, I'm going to agree with you on this. I think, yes, they overpaid for Kirk Cousins. I agree with that. But you had 3 choices. You had Kirk, you had Case, and you had Teddy. Okay. Out of the 3, you have to determine, okay, are we going to overpay for this guy? And if we have the right pieces, because they did, they had the right pieces. They had Diggs, they had Thielen, they had Rudy, they had the defense, which we thought was going to be good, but obviously things didn't turn out that way. But then you have Case Keenum. Are you going to roll the dice and hopefully he's going to have another great season? He might. Well, let's not forget Pat Shurmur left right after that game. He went Giants head coach. I wish he would have stayed, but he didn't. Teddy, are we going to trust Teddy? Look at what Teddy's been doing now, too. I love Teddy. I've always loved Teddy. But I will say that Teddy is still not, in that tier of guys that would play well. Now,
I would agree with that.
Right. I appreciate that. See, we can agree on something. We can agree on something.
Not a lot, apparently.
Not a lot.
But at
Not
least
a lot.
that.
Exactly. So out of the three choices, I was in the camp of let's swing for the fences. I thought we could swing with the fences with Kirk. And to be honest, Kirk's stats have been outstanding throughout his seasons.
You can take
Now,
those.
Yeah, but let's be honest. No one ever, the coaching staff, Zim, we come to find out, Zim really didn't have a lot of confidence in Kirk. He didn't have a lot of confidence. Now, yes, I agree they overpaid. Yes, there's good number of players that are better than him, Mahomes and Brady and all these other guys. But that's right. But that was something they needed to do in order to get him to come here. Now, with the Case situation, I love Case Keenum. I will always be grateful for Case Keenum. Okay. I will always be grateful for Case Keenum. But are we going to roll the dice on that? Because after Case left, he hasn't been the same. Okay. Nope. To be honest. So those were the three.
Better than Baker Mayfield this year.
Oh, that's true. And that's
very true.
I think Baker's terrible. I think Baker's terrible, but they should have put Case Keenum in. I agree.
That's what I said.
Yep. That's what Voldy said.
Every time they put him in, they won.
Yeah.
Literally every time that they put him in, they won this year.
Yeah. Stefanski. Just saying. Yeah. Stefanski. Hello. But anywho, that's kind of how I look at it. But the comparison with you saying that Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins, I think is a good comparison. I really do agree with you on that. But it was a swing for the fences and we whiffed. Okay. We're moving on. We got guys coming in, but I
feel like you're swinging for the baseline, man.
Swinging for the baseline. All right. That's fine. We can disagree.
Hey man, we're just trying to get on base. That's what gets those big money contracts.
Right.
Anybody can hit a home run.
Right. It's true.
We're all about wins above replacement.
Exactly.
That's how you end up 8-8.
Yeah. Well, and then they're 8-9, but there's that. But anywho, I think the zoners had a different opinion on this. Now, I am not in the camp of the Vikings are going to be the best in the NFC. I've never been in that camp. Okay. I'm one Viking fan that can be realistic. Can be.
Okay. I'm glad you can, because there ain't very many of them.
Yeah. The thing is I didn't think we were going to the Super Bowl either. I was hoping we'd make the play. I thought we were a playoff team at some point, but that wasn't the case because, with Zim and all the drama that ensued there. But the zoners think that it's absurd statement. Do you look at it and think, okay, yeah, it is a little bit absurd statement? What do you think about
my statement?
Yes.
No, like I said, I mean, I might move them up one spot.
That's fine.
That's
Voldy. Is that all right? Yeah. I mean,
I just like the fact that we've gotten this far in the conversation. We've yet to even throw out the fact that Andy Dalton played probably as many snaps as Justin Fields this year, and he's not even in the conversation. That's
still take him, man.
Oh, you take Andy Dalton over Kirk Cousins?
No. You're getting closer. See, this is where I'm like,
Careful. You don't want to get 2022 now.
No. I'm just letting you know that there might be somebody else in the division other than those couple quarterbacks we were talking about. That Field and between Jordan Love and like you said, even Andy Dalton possibly. Those two, it's too. There's not enough for me to say yes on that right now.
All right, good, because you'd be putting yourself up for dangerous territory right there again. But anywho, besides, the thing is it's no hostility. We can disagree on things and whatnot. It's all fun. It's all fun and games. That's why we're kind enough to give you this. Okay, we're gonna have this coming for you. I think this is gonna be. Voldy worked hard on this. Now, don't forget that he did work hard on this. So we'll make sure we find time to get it to you. So maybe even we throw in a sticker for you. How about that?
Oh. Down for that. Oh, give me some good pictures and have to send them back. Maybe post them on your page then.
Hey, there you go.
We love it, man. Especially when the Bears next year sweep the Vikings.
See, now you're just getting into territory where this, I mean,
Oh.
a little far out. It's a little far out, which there are some things that you can look at and say, okay, but be careful now. Okay. We're recording this. We're recording this. Okay. The thing is, this might stay with you 2 years. If you think they're going to sweep them next year, we'll see, depending on how things go with GM and coaches. So I'm not going to put you on that spot yet. Not yet. You mentioned you're a Chiefs fan.
Mhm.
What a game last night.
You won.
Holy, what a game last night. The Bills, the Chiefs, I feel like this is kind of the Mahomes and Allen is kind of like the Manning Brady type of game in a way. Two just juggernauts going bang, bang. What are your thoughts on the game, my friend? It was quite entertaining. What do you got?
I just about had to change my pants about 10 times during the game, to be honest. And I told my employer that if we wouldn't have won that game, I'd need about a week off to figure out what in the world is going to happen next. So if we wouldn't have turned out on top, I would have been upset. But considering how the rest of the playoffs went this weekend, I think we ended up in a good spot. There's a lot of people who got beat. A lot of good teams got beat. I think that, us being the only high seed left says a lot. So it's going to be sweet. Kind of where we expect to be. But obviously with how the season started, it kind of definitely makes it a little sweeter to find out that, we're back in the championship game again, or the AFC championship game again. So that's where I'm at for sure.
Yeah. Four in a row for the Chiefs in the AFC championship game. That's quite impressive. Now the game last night, with Josh Allen being able to do what he did, and I think we can all agree that whoever won the coin toss was going to win the game. I mean, it's
in overtime.
Yeah, in overtime, or unless you think differently.
No, I agree 100%. That was exactly right. It was like, man, we better get this ball because we can't stop anybody. Right
now, you do have a former Viking on there, Mike Hughes. Oh boy, yikes! They gotta fix something there for sure. But
as soon as Honey Badger went out, I was like,
that too.
We're in trouble on defense wise. It was not good.
Yeah, not good at all. So let me ask you this. I know we're still always, you got to look at, you got the Bengals coming up, a good, young, up-and-coming team with Joe Burrow just absolutely killing it. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all those guys. I mean, with everything that happened at the beginning of the season with the Chiefs, do you think that they're going to, A, go to the Super Bowl, B, win the Super Bowl now? What do you think, Austin?
No, both.
Both?
No question.
Okay.
No question. They're going to win. But I would say that regardless of who we play and regardless of who's in the NFC, to be quite honest. I think, though, that with who's left, it's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. The Bengals beat us earlier this year. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Joey Burrow's getting hit 40 times in a game. And whatnot. So I think it's gonna be a tough game, but the Chiefs, they're looking better than they have all year outside of their defense. I mean, don't give me a break, but who knows?
Who knows? Voldy, what do you think? Let me ask you that question too. You got the KC stuff on. Do you think you're in the same boat now? Go ahead.
I am in the same boat because of the performance. Well, first off, I want to put myself out there and say I did not see the last 2 minutes or overtime of the
Oh
of
my
the game.
God! Go away
I fell asleep
Why
on the
are you
couch.
even
Okay,
talking?
He's got a kid. He's got a kid.
It was my turn. It was my turn for bath night, and I was exhausted after being up at 5 a.m. on Sunday. Okay,
Honey,
cut me a
you're
break.
doing bath tonight. There's no way I'm missing this game.
I know that. I believe me, but Sunday night is mine. I get all my work done before bath night. get them in, get them out, and then just try to stay awake. But you get me past 7 o'clock, you're playing with house money, because there's no way I'm going to make it conscious through that game. And lo and behold, I wake up and I see that Kansas City won in overtime, and I thought, all right, well, it was probably a great finish. So yeah, the fact that 13 seconds get the game time field goal, I mean, completely absurd. But was I surprised? Maybe just a little bit. But I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat as well. I mean, you look at which 4 teams are left. I think maybe the Rams could put up a little bit of a fight, but at the end of the day, I don't know how you stop just the hot team in Kansas City right now. You know, from the start of the year till now, I mean, it's a night and day difference from where they were to where they are. All the corrections and just how they've just kind of taken themselves back to where they started off in that run back in even 2016, 2018, when they made those big runs, and even obviously with Super Bowl 53, getting that win too. And you know, I mean, it's just going to be hard to stop with all the weapons. You shut down one guy, even the guys that 2-3 years ago, like, who are these guys? Pringle, Hardman as well. You know, obviously Tyreek Hill, and then just the more diverse backfield that they now have with former Viking Jerick McKinnon. They've got, you know, Edwards-Helaire has been hurt for a good while, but even with the mix that they have for them, I mean, I don't know how you stop Kansas City from just going all the way and winning it this year for the Super Bowl too.
I almost like McKinnon better than I like Edwards-Helaire, to be honest.
Right, because McKinnon's got that, you know,
Experience.
He's a smaller guy, he's the experience, and he was a quarterback in college too. So I mean, that helps him out a lot in the same boat with, you know, even Patrick Mahomes too. I mean, they got 4 guys that can play quarterback on the field. We've seen Kelsey.
I like this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this guy. Maddie. Man, we're gonna get along great. You can just go get on your little trumpet, down the horns to all your people over there.
Well, no, listen here, okay? I didn't vote you for absurd. I nominated you. They voted. The zoners voted. No,
I totally voted for him. Most absurd statement, just because I didn't want me to win it.
There you go.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. I mean,
did I finish second in the voting?
You
though?
did.
So,
voting
yeah,
was
I did
2
finish
votes.
second. So other people were in the same. Were voting against me. So
yeah, you know, you enjoy talking to me. No, you just.
I'm well aware.
Let's backtrack a little bit, because back in the days of SMSU media, Voldy, you know this. Myself and the Curve Doctor worked on a little documentary on Mr. Austin Handley, which we had a great. Yeah, it was great. Good. Yeah, Dylan. Yeah, a great, good time.
Dylan.
Yeah, the Curve Doctor. Yes, we appreciate everything he's got. But, you know, when we were doing that documentary, Austin, you know, you really kind of went in depth on a lot of things in the doc. I mean, what was your favorite part of, you know, doing the doc with us and just kind of explaining your story and then winning a medal? I mean, that's pretty outstanding as well. So, what was kind of the most fun that you had when we were doing the whole doc, when we were putting that together? What do you got?
Yeah, so we did our doc back in 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. Anyways, I was kind of running around the world at that point.
Yeah.
I was living out at the Olympic Training Center. I was getting to travel back here every now and again, see my now wife, see you guys, see everybody back at SMSU, and really just kind of enjoy getting away from all of that, all the training, all the traveling, all the competing, and really just do something with, you know, people who really helped me enjoy being, really enjoy running. And I will say, winning, you know, international medals, winning national titles, having American records in Paralympic running has been awesome. One of the best experiences in my life. But I'll be honest, some of my favorite times of competing and running were back in high school and college, both SMSU and DSU. There shortly after going to SMSU.
Shout out to the Trojans.
Yep. Completely getting to enjoy just being on a team and doing that. was some of the best times of my life. And doing videos with you guys brings me back to all of that. Regardless of, even this show, getting to go back to being with some of those people. So that's really, for me, kind of the best part of everything I got to do during that time in life.
Sure.
Now we got a 2-year-old, so he runs faster than I do. So we'll see how that goes for him. But I will say that things have slowed down a lot for me since then.
Sure.
So just really trying to enjoy my time with my family. And I hope really soon, kind of one of my things really to do still on my to-do list, bucket list here, in regards to what I was doing before. I'd really like to start building a Paralympic program here in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Basically non-existent here in South Dakota. About the closest thing that South Dakota has to a competitive Paralympic program is Special Olympics, which really does great things for the community, but isn't a competitive Paralympic team or Paralympic club for people with disabilities.
Sure.
So anybody out there who wants to help out with that, has ideas on that, it takes a couple kids and a sport to do. And that's really where we're going to start it. And we're going to go from there. So.
Hey, I love it, man. Absolutely love it. I would say when we're doing that documentary too, I mean, just kind of piecing it all together, and then I didn't really know much about your journey and whatnot. And now when we got to do that, I mean, it's pretty cool. And man, that medal, that thing's heavy, man. That thing's not light. I mean, I remember actually Lexi, your wife, gave it to me, and I almost dropped it because it was like so heavy. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But it was such a great.
In the closet. I don't know.
Yeah. Austin, it's been fun chatting with you. You know what's going to be even more fun is when I get to finally send this to you. Would you like your name on this? Would you like your name on this or no? I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's going to be sweeping up your tears here next season. So.
I love it.
We'll see, my friend.
Don't worry, it's seal coated. I put about 9 coats of sealing on that thing, so
it's going to need it.
Yeah, it's going to need it.
I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl or anything. I'm not. Yeah, I'm realistic. I understand. I understand where we're at. So. But anyway, we'll find a way to get it to you and get you going on it. But we appreciate the time. And now you are the first guest that has entered into the best guest of 2022. So
there we go.
You're starting off on a good note with that. So hey, you might have another award, hopefully another award here in 2022. So
you might want to have me on once or twice more, maybe towards the end of the year, because otherwise, people just forget about that.
Yeah.
So
true. Very
it's
true.
That's true.
So,
yeah. Gather your people though. That's all I ask. Gather your people, because there's a lot of competition out here. Trust me. It was a close race this past year with best guess, but you're making a good case. Don't worry. We don't forget. I promise. We will not forget. So anywho, we probably have you on again, because why the heck not? We had a fun time. I hope you did too. We'll get you the dustpan. It's just sitting here waiting. So
man, it's good catching up with you.
Heck yeah, man. We'll get you on. We'll get you on again. And more of MinneZona coming up next. All right, we are back on MinneZona Sports Live. Another fun interview with Austin Handley.
Yep.
The first guest that we had in 2022, Voldy. So he's first up, and he did a great job. But that cousin statement is going to live with him forever. It's going to live with him forever. And I don't think he minds. He would move him up above Jared Goff, but Justin Fields. I don't know about that. I don't know about
Yeah.
that. See, we didn't vote. I didn't vote on it. The zoners did. Just saying. That's all I have to say. But we appreciate him talking about some other stuff too, especially with our documentary and whatnot at the end there. So we had a great time with that. Voldy, a lot of news. A lot of news to talk about. So we got a hot take going on. Divisional madness, man. Madness. Awesome week of NFL football. Then after that, we're going to talk about the Wild, their hot streak. And then the big news today, the Vikings hired their next GM. So we'll be chatting about that here. So let's get it going with some Tater Tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Oh, man, too funny. All right, Tater Tot, hot take. We're ready to roll. So I wanted to start off with this because, honestly, this is the talk of the town. Not only, I mean, literally across the U.S. of A., across the country, or around the world. Yep. The divisional madness, Voldy and Zoners. A lot of great games. Titans, Bengals, Chiefs, Bills. Oh, my gosh, that was insane.
Crazy.
49ers, Packers, that game was insane too. Tampa Bay losing to LA. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Voldy. We won't start off with that. We'll get to that. I'm sorry for TFB for you. But let's start off first with the Bengals and the Titans, Voldy. This game, I felt like this, with the Titans that had experience, Derrick Henry comes back. You expect, okay, King Henry's going to be King Henry again. Well, he really wasn't. And then the Bengals being a little inexperienced there in the playoffs, but you would think that Tennessee would be able to win this game when they're tallying up 9-10 sacks, whatever it was. It was crazy. Joe Burrow was getting harassed. But then Tannehill's throwing 3 picks, and then especially at the end of the game, just didn't go well for Tennessee, but the Bengals end up pulling it off. What are your thoughts on that game, Voldy?
You know, out of the 4 matchups from this past week, if any one of these games was going to be a trap game, it was going to be this one. I think Tennessee had the most going against them in this game, obviously, with Derrick Henry coming back. You know, it was going to take a while for him to get into the flow of the game. It felt like, especially after missing, almost 3/4 of the season as well with that knee injury. For him to come back, it wasn't the same Derrick Henry, but it was something. And it also speaks to the fact as well, you can't turn over the football at any point. And that late interception cost Tennessee the season. Right then and there is kick the game-winning field goal. How you doing? Keep it moving if you're a Bengals fan. And they're just happy as well to be here. And you know what? Now they got a shot in the AFC Championship. They're 1 win away from the Super Bowl. Again, they're just playing with house money right now, for Cincinnati. And hopefully this is a sign of things to come here for the next, 5, 6, 10 years, maybe with Joey Burrow, if he is staying healthy. If they can protect Joe Burrow, I think they got a real nice shot here of doing some things as the career of Joe Burrow does develop. We'll see what happens against Kansas City, but this one was the biggest trap game out of the whole weekend, I think, in my mind.
Oh, 100%. And I think when you look at Tennessee, too, you look at their defensively, they're pretty good with Vrabel. Vrabel knows what he's doing. He's been in this situation before. But the Bengals really pulled it off, and they were able to intercept Tannehill 3 times. The question is, is Tannehill going to be, going here in the future? Because
who knows?
It really didn't look good. He has his moments, but, just this past weekend, it didn't look great. So, I don't know. Let's get to the zoners. We got some comments coming in here, Voldy. The playoff winners of Saturday totaled to give up 12 sacks and score only 1 offensive touchdown. Yeah, crazy.
They don't have to be effective. They don't have to be pretty. They just have to be effective.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good.
An ugly win is still a win.
Easy A asks, is Burrow cocky and arrogant, or is he confident? That's a good question because, I've been kind of thinking about that too. But I look back at his college days, and let's remember, he went to Ohio State, and he was slayed. Wait, no,
He was
it
buried in the depth chart, man. He was like third or fourth.
Right. I think it's
No
Ohio
sign
State.
for him to
Correct
come
me if
through.
I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
But then he decides he goes to LSU. He gets the opportunity. He knocks it out of the freaking park. Absolutely. Wins a national championship, the whole cigar thing. I think he's been doubted his whole life, and this is kind of payback for him. I think it's confidence, and honestly,
Swagger.
it's a likable confidence. It's not he's just a D-bag. No, I like Joey Burrow. I really do.
Yeah, I did too.
I've been very impressed with Joe Burrow. So I'd say that. Just my opinion, though. If you're a Titans or Steelers fan, how do you watch that Bills-Chiefs game and say to yourself, we can compete with the QBs we have right now? I mean, Big Ben looks like a statue, man. I respect to Big Ben. He's had a great career, but he just needs to be done. He just needs to be done.
Please.
But Seymour's right, man. I mean, I don't blame him for that. So, a little tidbit, then we'll move on to the next game here since we got a lot to talk about. But Zach Taylor surprises fans at Cincinnati bar after Titans win. How many head coaches do that? I mean, honestly, there's not many that would do that. So, I mean, claps out to Zach Taylor, man. I mean, I've been liking him more and more as the season's kind of gone on. And that loss to the Bengals isn't looking as bad for the Vikings. So, that's the good news about that. But, yeah, the Bengals. I mean, watch out. It won't be a cakewalk next week. I mean,
No, it will not.
It'd be cool to see the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. That'd be insane. I mean, a lot of youth.
Be nuts, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's move on to the next game. The Packers and the Niners. Coach Payne's Niners did well. They won, but Voldy, I gotta ask you this, man. We got former intern guy over here. He doesn't want to talk about the game, but guess what? We're gonna talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't need to hear from the peanut gallery over here. Okay. But anyway, Voldy, is it AaronRodgers' last game as a Packer?
God, I hope so. God, I hope so. Is it gonna be? I don't know. I can't get a read on the guy. The guy's a robot when it comes to stuff like that. It'd go 1,000 different ways. Is it going to be his last game? I would sure like to see it and give the Vikings a chance, but I don't know. There still could be some unfinished business left on the table, and at the same time, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers got anything left to prove. I mean, I don't think he's got anything left to prove. So, I mean, I say let bygones be bygones, and just shoo.
Bye.
Shoo.
We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
go
get married.
Shoo.
Go get married with Shailene Woodley, whatever her name is. Go. Just see ya. Bye.
Shoo.
So the one thing that I take from this game is defensively, the Niners shut down the high-powered offense of Green Bay. Devontae, I mean, he had his catches. He did okay. He wasn't just destroying the corners over there, but I mean, the offensive line was kind of a carousel most of the season. And I warned people about that. I did warn these Packer fans, hey, you don't have Bakhtiari in there. You've got guys that are switching in and out. Some people are hurt. Jair Alexander's been hurt all year. Darius Smith finally gets in. He gets a sack, but after that, nothing. This team had a lot of holes, and people thought, they're the best team in the league. No, it didn't pan out. The 49ers played really well in this game, especially with Jimmy G. He wasn't great. He threw a pick, but you know what? The defense got it done, and well, guess what? Special teams got it done for the 49ers. They block a kick. They block a punt, take it for a touchdown. I mean, Green Bay could have easily, stomped these guys, but they didn't. They had the one drive. They went down the field. They scored. After that, only a field goal. So it's just how it is. But San Fran moves on. Take on L.A. Seymour asks, will anyone get the Rodgers rate when they trade for him? I don't know. I that's a great question. The discount double choke? I don't know. Maybe. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. All right, our next game, Voldy. I'm sorry, man. Tampa Bay, LA. There's been some reports, Voldy. I ask you this, and we're going to get into it for ARA. So you know what? Let's wait a second. We'll wait for ARA.
Talk about the game.
Let's talk about the game. Let's do that.
Talk about the game.
Let's do that. So anyway, Tampa Bay was down big. It was 27-6 or
27,
at some point.
27-6.
Thank
Yep.
you.
27-3 at one point too.
27-3. Thank you. They come back in the second half. They have an outstanding second half. They go, they make Cam Akers fumble the ball. They score, tie it up, and then I don't know how much time was left, but Matt Stafford.
41 seconds left. Too much time for Stafford.
And Stafford got it done. That's the weird thing about it, because when he's been in that spot, there's been some, head-scratching things that he's done. But he was able to get the job done, get it to Cooper Kupp. Todd Bowles, you might want to cover Cooper Kupp. What are you doing?
Antoine Winfield Jr., what the hell are you doing not covering him, letting him blow right by you?
Yeah, I mean, the defensive game plan for that was terrible. They're able to spike the ball, get the field goal. Yeah. And TFB's, it might be his last season. We don't know yet. We'll get into that for ARA. But the Rams, they take on the 49ers, and that's going to be a good game. Especially if 49ers can go 3 in a row, beat them 3 times in a row this season, that'd be embarrassing. But
bet it would.
I don't know. All right, our last one, we'll briefly talk about this because we all know what happened. The last 2 minutes were insane. Josh Allen goes down and scores. Patrick Mahomes goes down and scores. It's the same deal. But 13 seconds left.
As mentioned in the Austin Handley interview, I had no idea what happened. I fell asleep on the couch.
You did.
I literally didn't know who won until I saw it on the TV.
Yep.
Like, oh, Kansas City won in overtime. That's cool. I did not know what had happened. 25 points in the final 2 minutes, Voldy. That's 25. Crazy. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Mahomes was on fire. Josh Allen was on fire. And I have so much respect for Josh Allen. I really do. And I've said, I think I did the comparison with Kirk and Josh before. And Josh has proven to me that he is the real deal. He is really the real deal. So I give him a lot of credit. Someone might want to defend Gabriel Davis. He had like 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns. And guess what Stephon Diggs had? He had like 3 catches, 7 yards. Oh, and a 2-point conversion. And 1 tackle on a fan streak.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I love Diggs. Don't get me wrong. I've always loved Diggs. But crazy game. Voldy, I said in, I think I even said in the, or actually I think I cut that part. Whoever's winning the coin toss is going to win the game.
Yep.
It was that simple.
Usually that works.
They went down, scored. But I'm sorry, Leslie Frazier, what the hell are you doing?
Trash.
The prevent defense that you had with 13 seconds left was terrible. Or, Kerf Doctors actually brought this up, squib kick it. Yep. Let some time drip a little bit. But the prevent D, I'm sorry, that was just awful. Awful by the Bills. And, it's going to be a long offseason, that's for sure. But it was still an entertaining game. So people were hoping people are saying this is the best game they ever seen and whatnot, which is crazy in itself. Looks like we have a new Brady versus Payton showdown. LOL. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I said that while we were talking with Austin too. So, I like I said, the Bills really kind of blew it with that. Just, I guess I can say it now, and respect to Zim, but they did the Zimmer way of thinking: prevent. Hopefully, they don't get to where they need to get to, but they did. So that's what happens. But crazy divisional matchup. We're going to have a lot of fun with the conference matchups. So it'll be fun, Voldy. So we move from the football field to some puck. Voldy, the Wild, and Fuego. Let's go Wild. They get the big win over the Canadians, man. Holy crap. 8-2. Goals on goals on goals. Voldy, this team has gotten healthy. They're back healthy. They're still waiting on Brodin. Brodin will come back soon, hopefully. Kaprizov was just amazing. Zuccarello. I think Nico Sturm actually went on the COVID list, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he scored the other night.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah.
Foligno was great, and Dumba, he got in a little fight. Boom! A little pop there. So I know the Canadians aren't very good, but Voldy, I wanted to ask you this. Once they got ahead, it seems like the Canadians wanted to fight some guys. I mean, what's the positivity in that? Let me ask you that. As a hockey aficionado, I mean, is it really worth it at that point in the game to be like, I want to start fighting guys. We're losing 8-2. What do you think?
I think it's more of a just, making sure that guys still have a pulse on the bench. And, they're not just lying down and taking it. You want to see something. Maybe it's the guy that's fighting that wants to, go himself to get a little spark for his teammates. It may not be for that night, but it's probably for, going on the second night of a back-to-back, or you're in the middle of a 5-game road trip out west or something like that. You got a lot of games still ahead of you, a lot of time in the hotel and on the bus and, on the plane as well. You got to be able to, keep guys, energized a little bit, especially on some of those longer road trips. I think it just came down to that and just seeing, see a little bit of life come through, even though Montreal is getting their rear ends handed to them. But it's great to see the Wild start to put up some big games and big wins as of late. Everybody contributing top to bottom, every single line tallying points, multiple points as well. They haven't had to worry about the goaltending because the last 4 or 5 games, the Wild have been putting up 5, 6, 7, 8 goals a game. And, that's been a real relief for the goaltending situation. I did see today that Brodin did get back to practice as well. Cam Talbot also skating as of late. They did get Jared Spurgeon back off the injured list as well. So it's good to have the captain back in the lineup too. So everything's starting to come together here as of late here for the Wild, and see if they can start turning it into a longer streak here for them.
Yeah, and another player to point out here too, Matt Boldy. Listen to this. He has 6 points in his first 6 NHL games.
Let's go.
He's that damn good, baby. Let's go. I think he should stay up with the Wild. I think this kid is going to be, we add a couple more pieces and whatnot. According to my Wild aficionado, I won't name any names, but I do talk with this guy. He thinks that they should, bring him back to Iowa a little bit. I say keep him up. Keep him up in Minnesota. Let's go. If he's hot, keep him up here. Why not? I don't see why not. So the Wild play on Friday, Voldy. You reminded me of that, so make sure we'll keep in tune with everything going on with the Wild. They're on a hot streak. Let's keep it going. They're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, and that's what we want to see. Kaprizov, man, just doing Kaprizov things. So I love this team, man. I really love this team. So we'll see what happens coming up. All right, so the big news, and then we're going to move on to ARA here. The Vikings finally hire a new general manager. This is big news out of Egan. This is going to be a different look of Vikings, because we're all used to the slick Rick, the way of him doing things. I did like the way that he did things as general manager and whatnot, but this is a new era for Minnesota Vikings football. It came down to 2 guys, Voldy. It came down to Pools from Kansas City, and now we have, I think I'm going to say this right. If I butcher it, call me out on it. Kulisi Adofo-Mensah, right?
There you go.
Yes, I got it. So anyway,
I'm just assuming you got it right. That's the way I would have said it.
Yeah, and if I get it wrong, I will correct it as soon as possible. But Adofo-Mensah, I think, is, people say it's going to be type of a Moneyball type of general manager, how he's going to approach this. The guy, he went to Princeton. He got his master's at Stanford. He worked with the 49ers for 7 years, okay? as a I forget what it was like director manager of football research. Manager of football research. He was with the 49ers, and mind you, a lot of good draft picks that they got. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, who was with them as well. Yep. And I think he was there when Jimmy G was traded, but it is, you take it for what you will. Then he goes to Cleveland, and it wasn't a long tenure with the Browns, but I like what I see. I think this is a different approach. He's a young guy. I think he's 32, from what I understand. I mean, this guy's young, and I think with this approach, a lot of people like him. But we got to see what happens. We can't just all of a sudden be like, oh, yeah, this is the right guy, I hope it's the right guy. I really hope so. So, Voldy, what are your thoughts on the Vikings hiring Adofo-Mensah?
Yeah, I think this is a smart move for the Vikings just because of the fact they've probably gotten a little too comfortable with the way things were with Rick Spielman and, kind of shaking things up, maybe taking a different perspective as the old football ways of obviously going out and scouting guys, but maybe some of the analytics will help. I'm not an analytics guy. I think, why does everything need a stat? Why can't we just do the old eyeball stat? That usually works out fairly well, but, I think it's a smart move. Obviously, it came down between Poles and Adofo-Mensah as well. And Poles went to Chicago. That means that Adofo-Mensah got picked up by the Vikings. I think it was a win-win regardless of whether direction that they wanted to go between Poles or Adofo-Mensah. And just so happened to be that Adofo-Mensah was available. I think it's a smart move, and hopefully it pays out here down the road.
I hope so. Next thing is now who's going to be head coach. That's going to be the big one. So D'Amico Ryans is another guy that to look at. They've worked together, and
Kevin O'Connell from the Rams, and then one other guy
Mike McDaniel's, right? I think I got offensive coordinator. He's pretty funny too. But there's like we said, he's going to have to prove himself. And right. I think he will. I think he's got the tools. And yeah, like you mentioned, the analytics. I've always the team that plays at Target Field. You know how I feel about the analytics too. With football, I think we can. I think he's got some. He can have a lot of perks with these analytics. Now he's going to factor in everything else too, whereas the team at Target Field doesn't. Just my opinion. But, next thing is head coach. Hopefully, we can kind of rally the troops a little bit here because I think there was a lot of drama with Zim, unfortunately, even though we love Zim. But it's time to rally the troops a little bit, get this team on the right track. So, fingers crossed. All right, that's going to do it for the Tater hot take. It was fun. We had a lot to cover. We got through it in a reasonable amount of time, but it's time for ARA. Voldy, there's some there's still some big news that we need to cover real quick. Especially the anti-Vike. And you know who I'm talking about when I say the anti-Vike. I think we're starting off with that. But then also TomBrady, AaronRodgers, all that stuff. Hall of Fame, David Ortiz. We got some good ones this week. So let's get it going with some observed or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, there is a God in this world, the Antichrist. The anti-Vike. That is SeanPayton, head coach for the New Orleans Saints, has decided to step away from the position, which came down on Tuesday. 16 years after he was hired as the head coach, as he doesn't plan to coach for another team in 2022 and even has pursued interest in a TV analyst job as well. And this comes off the tails of a season of, missing the playoffs without Drew Brees for the first time, and then all the other troubles that they had throughout the year. inconsistent play calling, guys hurt left and right, infamous Jameis going down midway through the year, and then just not getting anything right altogether as well in the back half of the season. So, looking at the entire body of work for Sean Payton and his tenure with the New Orleans Saints, is his career Hall of Fame worthy?
Oh, is his career Hall of Fame worthy? Oh, no. And the reason why it's not is because that it's my opinion on it, because I have no love lost for Sean Payton. The reason why I don't, and you're going to find this interesting. I also tweeted something on the socials medias. Josina Anderson, she's very well respected. She was saying he's very caring, very thoughtful. He was just a great human being and everything like that. He's just a great guy. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, seriously. I mean, if you say something like that, caring, empathetic, thoughtful, the guy that mocks the skull chant, the guy that, let the bounty gate happen, and I said, I threw it out there, and, of course, I kind of kicked the wasp nest with the AINTS fans. One of them had an article from saying that the Vikings had a bounty program when Favre was QB. First of all, it's a dead spin article, and which I don't take as a reliable source. And then the second thing is it was a player that barely played, Artist Hicks. I don't take his word as reliable as well. So who knows if he even said it. And then obviously there was another AINTS fan. They said, cry. This guy said, cry, little bro. And I said, no need to. We got our revenge. Consider us even. And it was of the Minneapolis Miracle. So you go, well, and then, of course, it's the you guys have no rings. You guys have no rings. Come on. So, yeah, I don't think so with Sean Payton, because, yes, they led him to a Super Bowl that they had to cheat to win. But they haven't done anything since then, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'll give Sean Payton some credit. He is a very good offensive mind. I'll give him that. I'll definitely give him that. But the fact that he had to cheat to win a Super Bowl, and to say that he knew nothing about it, to say that he, it was all Greg Williams and have all these players try to back him, it's been proven. It's been proven, okay? A lot of these people who would elect him into the Hall of, if he was voted into the Hall of Fame and whatnot, they have to look at that specific time, because this bounty program went to 2011, 2012, whatever it was. You have to factor that in. You have to. Now, it's not only that, but they didn't do anything after that. I mean, there's some coaches that definitely... Bud Grant never won a Super Bowl, but he's in the Hall of Fame because, he had a great record and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, Sean Payton had a great record too. But this is a ploy by Sean Payton to leave New Orleans because their cap situation sucks. They don't have a quarterback in famous Jameis, Taysom Hill. He's just kind of like, I'm going to head out. And then, when he gets the opportunity, he's going to go to Dallas, which is very possible. So, no, I don't think Sean Payton deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. That's my reasoning. Voldy, what do you think?
Anybody else find this timing kind of funny right around the time that the movie about him is coming out as well?
Yeah, it is kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm just saying. It could all be, a public marketing or public relations ploy as well. Looking at the numbers as well, you look from the time before Sean Payton arrived, he only had 5 10-win seasons, 1 playoff win, no Super Bowl wins. Since 2006, they've had 9 10-win seasons. They've had 9 playoff wins and 1 Super Bowl win as well. Yes, I know at the time that he came in was right after Hurricane Katrina, and really the city rallied around the Saints and all that as well. in the grand scheme of everything, no, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't care. He's trash. It's garbage. The fact that so much love loss against the Vikings and, had to cheat to win the NFC Championship, had to mock the fans getting burnt out with the skull chant before hitting the Minneapolis Miracle. And then we go down to their place a couple years later and stick it right to them
Rudy.
in OT on the opening possession with Kirk to Kyle Rudolph again for that first drive of overtime. I mean, that's a small little bit of solace. I'd like a Lombardi trophy out of the whole lot, out of that whole situation. I mean, we could just take it, I guess, in that regard. But yeah, out of all of it, no. SeanPayton's not a Hall of Fame coach in my mind.
Now, there's going to be some people that disagree with that, and that's fine.
Good.
I hope they
Let
do.
them disagree.
I want people to disagree because I want to get a rational take on it, because a lot of these AINTS fans, especially the ones on Twitter, they're not very smart. I'm just saying, because why they're not is because they think, well, we won the Super Bowl and we got screwed out of that NFC Championship game against the Rams. That's karma. That is karma coming back to you. It
literally is.
Okay? Because you guys had to cheat to win, and it's been proven. And also, terrible the worst officiated game ever I've ever seen. So, I mean, it was so bad, and especially with Brett Favre, that whole ordeal too. So, former intern guy says he's not in the Hall of Fame in my eyes. Thank you. And he's a Packer fan. So there's that.
Yeah, that's saying something.
That is saying something.
That's weird.
Stuffage, the simple answer is no, he is not. Thank you, Stuffage.
Go.
So, I could go all night about SeanPayton, but we're not going to do that. We're going to save that for a special occasion. But, not Hall of Fame worthy, and he's a D-bag too, so I don't like him. Next one, Foldy.
Well, of course, with the NFL divisional round coming to a close and two of those quarterbacks that did suffer losses on this past weekend as well, bring up a lot of questions this offseason. Quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, AaronRodgers, and quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, TomBrady, will be exiting off the field going in the offseason with question marks for their status for the 2022 season. A lot of them citing that all options on the table. Going to take family into consideration for TomBrady before any announcement is made as well. A lot of cryptic social media posts being put out there as well, especially by Brady as of late. With these losses in the divisional round, A, have we seen the end of one, AaronRodgers, and B, have we seen the end as well of TomBrady as well?
Great question. Let's start with Brady. I think all signs are pointing to Brady retiring. And I don't know if that's the answer that you want to hear, Voldy. But what more does Tom have to prove? There really isn't. And I think from what he's said in the past is he said, because I love the game so much. And he does.
Right.
You can tell. Definitely tell with him. But I mean, just be with your family. You've got 7 Super Bowls, okay?
Yep.
You've got the most Super Bowls out of anyone. And, you got more than Jordan. You got more rings than Jordan. Obviously, if you're comparing two sports, who's better? Well, obviously, it's irrelevant at this point. But I think this is probably the last we see of Tom. I mean, what's there more to prove? And if he plays one more year, it wouldn't surprise me either. But he's kept his body right and whatnot. But the question is after Brady goes, I mean, what are you going to do about the quarterback situation if you're Tampa Bay? That's the big question there. So I think Brady. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Rodgers. I think Rodgers wants to go to a place where he can win and do things his way. Ever since that Super Bowl that he's had, he really hasn't done much but bitch and moan, to be honest with you. And he's the type of guy that likes to be in control, and he wants you to know that he's the alpha dog, okay? And he he's one hell of a player. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Rodgers is a hell of a quarterback. I think he's a jackass, but I think he's going to go to a situation like the Denver Broncos have been popping up left and right. Him and Devontae going to the Denver Broncos.
Yikes.
I just don't see him being like, I'm retiring, whatever. I'll just wait for the next opportunity to get back in there. Take a year off like year 2 off like SeanPayton. Yeah, I could see it, but I don't think he wants to do. I think he wants to keep playing. He wants to win another championship, but I'm glad it won't be with Green Bay. That's all I got to say. But yeah, yes to Rodgers. It won't be the last we see of him. I'll say yes to Brady. I will say yes to Brady. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Well, starting off with Rodgers, I don't think he's got, I think he's still got a couple more seasons left in him as well, just because, obviously he wants to win. He wants another Super Bowl, whether that's with Green Bay or with somebody else. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that a lot of things are, like he's been talking about, are still left out on the table. I think if he does come back, it probably will be with Green Bay, unfortunately. Okay. They've got a little cap work that they need to do in order to make that happen to keep everybody happy. But if they want to make it work, they're definitely going to have to do it. Unfortunately, with that sour taste in their mouth from losing the divisional round this year. But in the case of Brady, I'm kind of on the same board with you too. I mean, what else is there left to prove? I mean, 7 Super Bowls, 1 with Tampa. I mean, you get all the way into, you dominate the 2 years with a brand new team with the same players both years as well. You have the illustrious legacy of 3 separate NFL Hall of Fame worthy, Pro Football Hall of Fame careers within themselves. And, definitely going to get his number retired at both Tampa and New England as well. No doubt about that. If and when he does retire. Again, he's got so many other things going on off the field. He's got the Brady brand. He's got the TB12 wellness, the recovery center as well, with all the pliability stuff, the podcast he's got going on. He's just keeping himself more busy, kind of like Deion Sanders as well. Him and Deion still touching up a few things off the field as well. So I think it has yet to be seen. I think, if anything, this might be the end for Brady. I hope it isn't. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it was. So
right. I don't blame you. Intern guy said, former intern guy, he's not an intern with us anymore, but he's a former. Rodgers is out and going to Denver with Adams, and Brady is retiring. So he's saying what I said. So he copied me. So he's a turd. No. Just kidding. Stuffage. I do cuss from time to time, but I try to keep it PG, but we throw a sprinkle of 13 in there a couple times. But, I mean, it is what it is. You done over there? Anywho, I think we're all in agreement. I think these cryptic messages, I think, are very noteworthy here. And then also with Rodgers, the one thing I'll say with Rodgers, if he would stay with Green Bay, he doesn't want to be part of the rebuild, because a lot of these contracts are up and Green Bay just doesn't have the space right now to keep some of these guys. And if he's being part of a rebuild, he's saying screw that. It's either like if he has to play again in Green Bay and they're getting rid of all these guys, then he might retire. It's very possible with that too, but not retire as in I'm going to take a year or 2 off, which is very possible. So, all right, this one's not updated, but it still is very prevalent here. So next one, Voldy.
Well, we go to the Baseball Hall of Fame in a recent announcement yesterday that David Ortiz will be heading his way to the Baseball Hall of Fame in his very first ballot. 77.9% of the vote for the former Minnesota Twin and former Boston Red Sox slugger as well in his first appearance of the ballot. But the big misnomer out of all of it, the final year on the ballots for Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling, even Sammy Sosa as well, they all fall short and will be left off the ballot as they were in the final year of eligibility on the writer's ballot. maybe coming up here in the near future, players committee and other sorts of ways for them to get into the Hall of Fame as well. But that has yet to be seen. So I already know the positivity with David Ortiz, a lot of, obviously a lot of great numbers. Some of the, obviously 3-time World Series champion, 10-time All-Star, one of the greatest clutch hitters of all time, 541 career home runs, most by a designated hitter as well. You saw it open up after Edgar Martinez got into the Hall of Fame. You knew that David Ortiz wasn't too far behind if it wasn't going to be on the first ballot. But the real big problem out of it all is the fact Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, not in the Hall of Fame their final year, even though they started trending upward the last couple of years. Is it absurd or approved? Should have the Hall of Fame voted Bonds and Clemens in their final year on the writers' ballot?
Ooh, I'm going to say Bonds. I think Bonds definitely should have. The reason why I say that is because even before the whole steroid stuff and whatnot, he was still a good player before that. I think people tend to forget that. I think Barry Bonds deserves to be in there. I mean, the guy, the guy was a home run king. I mean, he's literally the home run king. I mean, but some of these writers really are kind of holding grudges, and they hold grudges when they're like, well, they cheated on this, they've done that, X, Y, and Z. Roger Clemens, I think, is kind of a toss-up because there are some kind of rotten things that he's done too. But I look at it from what have you done in the MLB, and these guys have been very, very good. I think you need to look past that now. You have to look past that and let these guys go into the Hall. I mean, but these writers, which I think they're still doing that whole, deal, they just don't want these guys in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why. I think you can make a case for them not being in it, but I think time has passed so much that I think these guys deserve to be in it. Bonds was amazing, okay? Clemens was a great pitcher, too. So I guess for both of them, I'd say I'd probably lean more towards Bonds getting in than Clemens, just because Clemens, there's some things there. But I'd say he should get in. But Schilling, I think, definitely deserves to be in there. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Major League Baseball, the Baseball Hall of Fame pulled a Rob Manfred on this one. They completely fouled this whole thing up. First off, obviously, David Ortiz was going to get in nonetheless. The fact that Barry Bonds, the all-time home run king, and obviously multiple Silver Sluggers, multiple All-Star games, multiple Gold Gloves. He was a Gold Glove caliber left fielder in his time, even when he was bulky and strong with the Giants too. Multiple MVPs in that regard. Roger Clemens, the all-time leader with 8 Cy Young Awards in his career. Not in the Hall of Fame is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my whole life. Just because baseball wanted results from 1995 to 2004. That's classified as the steroid era. That time, 1995 going on, nobody watched baseball. Nobody cared. Baseball needed results. Players gave you results. You didn't ask for honest results. You didn't ask for the quote-unquote right results. You wanted balls in the stands. You wanted butts in the seats. And you wanted strikeouts on strikeouts. Nobody cares about the fact that it was, done with human growth hormone, steroids and everything. There's guys back in the 70s and 80s that were coked out of their minds playing everything. Doc Ellis for the Pittsburgh Pirates threw a perfect game while high on acid. That stuff's illegal. And you're getting all bent out of shape because a guy stuck a needle in his butt and gained 50 pounds of muscle in one off season. Look, you wanted results. You got it. They have to make their bed and lie in it. Major League Baseball, reward the guys that are playing a sport that is physically impossible to play. Blink and you'll miss it. That's what a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle will be. Blink and you'll miss it. Barry Bonds was able to do it 763 times over the fence in his career. with Pittsburgh, with the Giants. Roger Clemens, a bulldog on the mound, no matter where he was. He was going to go out there and he was going to give you innings. He was going to strike out 12, 15, 37 guys if that was theoretically possible as well. And the fact that they're not in the Hall of Fame because a bunch of guys sitting behind their typewriters, keyboards, typing up stuff for the newspaper and online say, no, I'm not a fan, is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'd like to see them put some dirt in their spikes and try to go out there 162 games over a 6-month span. Even if that, it's probably 4.5, 5 months in a regular season on top of, spring training, on top of postseason. If you end up playing a whole season as well, all the way through October, it's completely stupid. The fact that Curt Schilling's not in the Hall of Fame because he's a ornery SOB, to say the least, with some unsavory language as well, has nothing to do with the fact that he is the greatest postseason pitcher in Major League Baseball history. Look at those numbers, and the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is a complete injustice to the game of baseball, and that's what I've got to say about that. It's completely absurd that Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling are not in the Hall of Fame. Sammy Sosa, throw him in there as well. He was a hell of a player. Mark McGwire, yeah, you could definitely do it too. Throw some World Series in the mix as well in his time. Those numbers do speak for themselves as well.
But let's just not forget, Big Papi, first ballot, that's great. He definitely deserves it.
Absolutely.
Twins missed out. Oh, they missed out big time. And those damn Pollards. Anyway, Joe Nathan. Joe Nathan didn't even get a vote. And I think that is a travesty in itself. But a lot of these guys, like the Buster Olneys, the Jeff Passons, are saying that eventually Bonds and these guys will get in by special vote or however it's going to be.
Yeah, only because Joe Morgan, God rest his soul, is dead, and he's no longer head of the Players Committee for that because he won't even let his own teammate and Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. And they've made up so many times as well during their years. And thank goodness, God rest his soul, Joel Morgan is dead, as he didn't want the guys with steroids and Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And now that he's gone, going to pull a little bit more leeway to hopefully get those guys in too.
Yep, you're right, man. All right, we're going to stick with the MLB. Next one, Voldy.
Yeah, a very interesting one. It's been kind of in the works the last couple of years that the Tampa Bay Rays wanted to play a split season. They've had a lot of stadium trouble over the last couple of years down in Tampa, and obviously, too, the people in the city of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the former home of the Montreal Expos, they've had exhibition games with Toronto and spring training, things of that sort over the last, 5-6 years or so. But there was going to be an incentive yet controversial plan to split their home schedule between Tampa and also the city of Montreal. But Major League Baseball decided to nix that plan altogether, thinking that eventually when the stadium lease comes up in Tampa Bay, that Tampa would actually move their franchise to the city of Montreal, which would need a whole lot of help in a whole new stadium instead of that dumpster fire that they call Olympic Stadium that the Expos used to play in as well. Is it absurd or approved that Major League Baseball put the kibosh on the split season in Montreal? And will we ever see a team in Montreal ever again?
I hope so. I really like the Expos. Just kind of throwing that in there too. But we do have official breaking news, by the way. The Vikings have officially named. Okay, this is how you say it. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Kwesi. K, like the pronunciation, Kway, and then C, like C. So, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. We will get it down. So there we go. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. All right. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Foldy. I don't see what the issue is with them, doing that with Montreal because, Montreal was a place where, baseball was so big to the people of Montreal. But I wish they had a split season just because, you give that city back what they loved so much. But a lot of that's kind of gone now, so there's that to factor in as well. But I look at it from the perspective of, with the Expos and whatnot. But I think the people would really love it. I think it's absurd that they nixed the move again. Manfred back at it again. But, yeah, I don't know. Tampa, I feel like they kind of got they should have had the Montreal, playing some split season in Montreal. But Manfred at it again. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, it would have been nice as well for some of those American League East teams, with Baltimore, Boston, and New York to go over the border. But then again, you throw in the fact that you don't know what the situation is going to be with with the COVID and the international border being open or not. So that was another thing to take into consideration. Tampa, they've been talking about moving that team the last decade, it feels like, as well, with how good and bad that team has been the last decade for sure. You just wanted them to make a decision at some point, but it would have been nice. I would like to see actually more games being played, maybe not overseas, but like when the Twins played down in Puerto Rico, or like play a couple games in Cuba, a nice Cuban series or something. They've done that for spring training, the Dominican as well. Open that door a little bit more too, because I remember when the Twins, it wasn't that all that long ago. It was probably 3-4 years ago at this point now, when they played a couple of games down in Puerto Rico for a series. I can't remember who they played. It might have been like Miami or something like that. But, that's another opportunity. I would just like to see another team in Montreal again, so I could probably represent my Montreal Expos gear to the fullest with pride.
That'd be pretty sweet, man. I think they got to do it. I mean, the fans want it, and why not give it to them? I mean, it'd be fun to see that again. But again, Manfred at it again. There's really not much you can, put to it. So it's just how it is. But MLB, sometimes I tell you. All right, last one, Voldy.
Well, we go to the NBA here for our last one as well, and it was this past week that the Milwaukee Bucks' GraysonAllen, who I didn't even know was still in the league to begin with, did receive a one-game suspension for his foul, a flagrant 2 foul, on a Sunday against Alex Caruso of the Chicago Bulls. That did cause a fractured wrist, I should say, for the Chicago Bulls guard as well. Now, Allen, who is no suspect to causing maybe some quote-unquote freak injuries, whether professionally or in his college days as well, was cited for unnecessary and excessive contact in that altercation, if you will, and that did lead to the suspension as well. Do you think, is it absurd or prove that the one-game suspension was enough for GraysonAllen, given his tarnished streak of actions on the court?
I think it's absurd. The reason why I say it's absurd is because this guy has a knack for doing some stupid things. And it goes back to, college. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, okay, there was another incident. I thought this was the only incident that happened in the NBA, but there was one. In 2019, he was ejected from a summer league game for picking up 2 flagrant fouls within seconds of each other.
What an idiot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've never liked this guy from the beginning. And I the Bucks say that they support Grayson and everything. Like, why? I saw the video. He grabbed his hands and went like this. I mean, it's very clear from the video. I literally watched it right now, and it's clearly a foul that you would just go up and hit his hand. You're going for the ball, but the ball was already out of his hands by then. You're grabbing his arms, throwing him down like that. GraysonAllen should have been suspended for longer just to make a point. Stop doing this crap. And, he likes to weasel his way and try to, get after people. But, gosh, he had so much talent too. But for doing stupid stuff like that, you're not gonna be well liked. And obviously, some enforcers are not well liked for other teams and whatnot. But this guy's just taking it to another level. So, yeah, I think it's absurd. He should have been suspended for longer. So, Voldy, what do you got?
I don't know how he's still even in the league to begin with. It's not like he's putting up 20 points a game. He's, a bench guy, and maybe he's trying to find the route that, maybe JJ Redick had coming out of Duke as well. Just a guy that can shoot, but I haven't seen or heard. Again, I didn't even know that GraysonAllen was still in the league to begin with. He'd floundered out after about 3 or 4 years with the team that drafted him, but apparently not so much. And he's just trying to find a way to, maybe collect a pension by the end of it. Yeah, the dude's been dirty ever since college as well, basically taking out guys at the knees and at the ankles and trying to basically end guys' careers. I take into consideration the fact I like the charisma, but come on, dude. Like, you literally tried to take the guy's head off to begin with, even though he's clearly better than you enough to, send out a flagrant 2 and then get the 1-game suspension. Again, still not very liked. I don't know how even his own teammates put up with him and all the shenanigans that go along with it. I don't think 1 game was enough for it, so it's completely absurd.
And I don't know how Coach K could even deal with it, because he went to Duke. I don't know, man. But I just think this GraysonAllen's just kind of one of those guys that needs to be on the infamous list. That's all I think.
For sure.
I think he needs to be put on the infamous list. But former intern guy agrees on that too, so we appreciate that. GraysonAllen's a clown, so we'll put it like that. But you know who else is a clown? Urban Meyer. If you've looked at our post, it looks it's very fitting with Urban.
Fitting.
It's very fitting. And, clown in itself. But anyway, Voldy, great job with ARA this week. I know there's been a lot to talk about, but it's been so much fun with this week. But you know what also is fun? Shield shoutouts. Voldy, you've got some shoutouts this week that are pretty sweet. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, do have to spend some love out to former Byron Bear Aoka Lee, who has been tearing it up at Kansas State for the women's basketball program. Just a handful of years, going back for her senior year next year. Well, she set the Division I women's scoring record in a single game, 61 points in a win over number 14 Oklahoma on Sunday. Not so much the fact that she broke the record, but she also passed a record that was tied by the Maroon Mamba herself. Rachel Bannum held the record along with Cindy Brown from Long Beach State back all the way in 1987. So some love being sent out there as well from one Minnesota girl to another, putting Byron, Minnesota on the map as well with that scoring record in the process. So a big shout out to Aoka Lee for setting that D1 scoring record for college women's basketball. Do I also have to send out a Shield shout out to Philadelphia Flyers D-man Keith Yandel as he set the NHL's Ironman record, playing in his 965th consecutive game as of last night as well. He's got a chance to break the record coming up tomorrow night as well, and that will be for all the marbles. It will be. All he has to do is step out for one shift, and he will be registered as the NHL Ironman as well. So big Shield shout out to Keith Yandel, Northeastern guy as well. Pretty funny dude as well. So big shout out to him. But also have to send a Shield shout out to the man himself, Big Papi, David Ortiz, being elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Got the jersey, got the hat as well. Of course, going in as his first ballot Hall of Famer. 554 career home runs, 10-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, World Series MVP as well. Single season record for most home runs by a designated hitter, as well as a Boston Red Sox as well. Former Twins farmhand, former Seattle Mariners farmhand as well. Way back in the day when he was David Arias, and then also known as David Ortiz. But a long road that came to be, and now heading to Cooperstown is David Ortiz. That's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Gotta love it. With Papi, I saw him play with the Twins, and I just think, well, first of all, I don't think he liked it as much. I think he's been on record saying it, which I don't blame him. I mean, damn poll ads. But especially your former Byron Bear, Aoka Lee. Wow. What a player, man! Very
Stud.
cool, very cool. I've been seeing all these everything on Twitter there. I mean, it's awesome. So
Crazy.
yeah, crazy. Yeah, in itself. So great job with Shield shoutouts this week, Voldy.
Thanks, sir.
Episode 95, we're wrapping up, and
we go.
you know what you can do to if you love MinneZona so much. We've got merch, man. We've got shirts. We've got stickers. $20 for the shirt, $5 shipping. We've got stickers for the small ones, $2. The big guys, $3. So if you want a bumper sticker like a former intern guy, he put it on his truck, so we appreciate that. And then also, we're still working out. We're taking orders for sweatshirts, but we're not. We're figuring out the new place to get the sweatshirts as well. So bear with us on that. $40, $5 shipping, and then the hats, the MinneZona hats. They're pretty dope themselves. Voldy's got them, and we're working on getting them to you. Look at that hat. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. We love it. $20 for the hat, $5 shipping. It's pretty nice. So, also thanks to National Fleet Graphic. Thank you to Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers. They look fantastic. And W2 Performance, Will Rattel. Check out www.w2performance.com for everything that Will is doing, and he's doing pretty well. The Haas project is working out really well for Will. We're proud of him, even though he only had so many votes in Best Guest. Got to get that game up. You got to get your subscribers to vote. Come on, man. All good fun with Will Rattel. Check out Jack O'Keefe, Jack's Junkyard. He's got posts and everything going on right now. Breaking into the League with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. They have a new episode out. They had I think they had a AHL player or something on. So make sure you check that out with those guys. They're doing a great job. Gabs could have done better on the Best Guest as well. So there's that. And then also special thank you to Austin Handley for coming on the show. We appreciate it. We had a lot of fun with Austin. I know we disagree on the Kirk thing, but I just don't understand how you can look at the NFC North right now and think that Kirk Cousins isn't better than Justin Fields right now or Jared Goff. Just how? It makes no sense. No sense. But the zoners voted. They did the right thing. Voldy, you were close to getting a most absurd statement.
Very close.
That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. And we all know that's absurd, saying that Kirk's the fourth best quarterback in the NFC North. But anywho, we got the dustpan. It's ready to go. So, Austin, we'll get it to you. But anyway, Voldy, great job. As well. We're moving on to episode 96, folks. We're getting so close. We're into season 3 already. Hype video coming soon, by the way, so we'll be working on that as well. So we got a lot of highlights to show you. So, but anyways, as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.